Sometimes, the quiet before a storm holds the most profound weight, a silent promise of change. Listen closely now. Then, without warning, the world shatters. Cannons roar, echoing across the vast, indifferent ocean. A new history begins. Steel groaned, wood splintered, and brave men fought against an overwhelming fiery chaos. Their desperation felt real. When the smoke finally cleared, only the whispers of what was left remained. A terrible silence descended then. Imagine, if you will, a world frozen in time, where a sleeping giant held unquestioned sway for centuries. Its shadow stretched far and wide, a comforting, yet often heavy, blanket across an entire continent. Such was the order. Then, almost overnight, a swift, unexpected blow came from an underestimated, eager new power. This sudden, sharp impact shattered that centuries-old dominance forever. The old ways were suddenly vulnerable. What if, my friend, a single naval battle could truly redraw the map of an entire continent? Not just shifting lines, but changing destinies, shaping the very identities of nations for generations. And what if this spark ignited a new era of global conflict? Its echoes still felt today. That precisely is what happened on September 17th, 1894. A day etched into history. Off the quiet, contested coast of Korea, fate was already plotting its course in the waves. In that clash, Asia's destiny was not merely altered, but utterly rewritten. A new chapter unfolded. This introduction will immediately highlight the extraordinary stakes involved, stakes that resonate still, and we will explore the profound, unforeseen consequences that rippled out across the world. The Battle of Yalu River. More than just a name, it's a turning point. We promise you a deep, cinematic dive into its historical significance, woven with care. It's a tale not just of ships and cannons, but of empires, ambition, and human spirit. This is a profound story, one that calls us to slow down and truly consider its lessons. Our hope is to help you feel the history, not just recount dates and events from books, to experience the human drama, the triumphs, the sorrows, and the enduring echoes of their time. The late 19th century, a quiet epoch on the surface, but beneath, ancient currents were shifting. For centuries, one mighty empire cast its long shadow across the Eastern world. The Middle Kingdom, China, the Qing Dynasty, felt eternal, a universe unto itself, believing its wisdom unsurpassed. Its immense land held millions, a tapestry woven through millennia of history, rich yet struggling. Yet, within the gilded walls, corruption festered, a silent rot, gnawing at the empire's very soul. Decisions moved like molasses, burdened by tradition, by a court more interested in its own comfort. The past was their anchor and their chain. Old ways cherished, new ideas met suspicion. They truly believed themselves the center, the heart of civilization, the Middle Kingdom indeed. But outside their hallowed gates, the world was spinning faster. A new age was dawning. Across a narrow sea, an island nation watched, for so long content in its own quiet world. Japan, once hermetically sealed, was now awakening. A powerful, undeniable spirit was stirring within. The Meiji Restoration, a seismic shift. Old ways shed, new paths eagerly, urgently embraced. They devoured Western knowledge, technologies, and ideas with a hunger born of their new ambition. The old samurai spirit channeled into modern might. A disciplined, formidable military was forged. No longer would Japan be isolated. It yearned for its place, its voice, in the global chorus. This island nation sought not just survival, but influence, to shape its own destiny. Two visions of Asia, one steeped in grandeur, the other racing towards an unknown future. And then, caught between them, Korea, a land known as the Hermit Kingdom, beautiful and vulnerable. For centuries, Korea had paid its respects to China, a loyal, albeit distant, family member. But its strategic position, a bridge between giants, made it a focal point of intensifying desires. Its people, unknowingly, found themselves on a precarious stage, a pawn in a dangerous game. For China, Korea was tradition, a buffer, a familiar part of its ancient, unchallenged dominion. For Japan, Korea was opportunity, security, a stepping stone to a broader, more powerful future. The world still saw China as the colossus. Its sheer size suggested unshakable, eternal power. Foreign powers, though encroaching, still treated Beijing with a certain deference, a hesitant respect. Japan, by contrast, was the upstart. Eager, yes, but still largely underestimated, often overlooked. Yet, Japan was quietly, purposefully, building the strength to shatter that very perception. The fate of Korea, this small, gentle land, became the crucible where these ambitions would clash. The air grew heavy, a quiet tension built, like a tightly wound spring, awaiting its release. East Asia's chessboard was set. Ancient hegemon and rising sun, ready for their fateful move. The whispers of war, once distant murmurs, now drew closer, a stark reality touching quiet lands. On land, the First Sino-Japanese War had already begun, sketching its grim lines across Korea. Small skirmishes, like flickers of distant lightning, foretold a coming tempest for all involved. On Korean soil, brave men fought, their spirits tested, their supplies dwindling with each passing day. The bitter reality of a land war gnawed at them, far from home, demanding sustenance. China's land forces in Korea, beleaguered and isolated, faced a dire, urgent need. Food, ammunition, medical aid, vital lifelines stretched thin, almost to their breaking point. A desperate plea reached Beijing. Reinforce us, or our efforts here will surely falter. The sea, once a barrier, now beckoned as their only hope, their crucial logistical lifeline. This maritime corridor, perilous yet necessary, became paramount for their survival and strength. China mobilized its convoys, laden with precious cargo, each vessel a floating beacon of hope. Every box, every barrel, carried the weight of expectation, the lives of countless soldiers. The journey was fraught with peril, a gamble against the vast, unforgiving expanse of the sea. This lifeline, fragile yet indispensable, sustained the war on distant shores, shaping its fate. Without these convoys, China's efforts in Korea would surely crumble, a tragic and bitter end. Across the sea, Japan understood this vital dependency. China's weakness was their opportunity. Their strategic imperative was clear: intercept these convoys, sever China's vital connection. To achieve victory, naval supremacy was essential, securing their own burgeoning logistical arteries. Control of the seas meant control of the conflict, a decisive advantage in this burgeoning war. Their purpose was grim, their resolve unyielding, to dominate these waters, whatever the cost. Orders were swiftly issued, like ripples spreading across still water, reaching every vessel. Engines rumbled to life, a deep, resonant growl, stirring the mighty steel beasts awake. Across both nations, men prepared for the inevitable, for a confrontation long brewing. Two powerful fleets, each driven by desperation and destiny, began their fateful journeys. They steamed out, a grand, ominous procession toward an unknown but certain confrontation. The collision course was set, a tragic convergence of steel, fire, and human will. The Great Sea held their destinies, its depth soon to witness an unprecedented spectacle. Each turn of the propeller brought them closer, a silent, relentless march toward destiny. Towards the mouth of the Yalu River, a quiet estuary, their paths would irrevocably cross. The air crackled with anticipation, a profound hush before the thunder of an era-defining battle. The waters, once so peaceful, now stir. A growing unease, a storm gathers, silent, yet profound, awaits. Across ancient waves, destinies forged. Two nations prepared for a clash, reshaping an entire era profoundly. Control of these vital seas meant command of the war, stakes immeasurable, tension palpable, a critical moment, a quiet before the storm. Two visions for Asia, vastly different, about to collide, changing history. Behold the Beiyang fleet's pride. Formidable German-built giants. They embodied national hopes, a grand display. Dingyuan and Zhenyuan, steel titans, promised strength. Massive guns represented China's formidable might, a symbol. On the surface, an impressive spectacle, a source of national pride, a testament to fleeting modernity. Yet, beneath the polished facade, neglect crept. Poor maintenance gnawed at the fleet's very soul, quietly. Training, it seemed, was insufficient. The rigorous precision needed for modern warfare eluded them, sadly. Tactics were outdated, relying on brute force. They sought to overwhelm, not outmaneuver, a costly strategy. Then came the shadow, corruption. It slowly, insidiously weakened the fleet from within, a silent enemy. A tragic flaw, ammunition shortages. The very tools of war were sometimes tragically absent, a cruel irony. The spirit, it seemed, was waning. This powerful fleet, outwardly strong, suffered internal silent decay. Their might was superficial, a grand illusion. Beneath the surface, cracks began to show, a sad truth. Even massive guns, symbols of pride, whispered stories of neglect. A quiet, tragic oversight, a costly error. A fleet built for destiny, undone by unseen human failing, by quiet, pervasive apathy. A magnificent exterior, a fragile interior. The Beiyang fleet sailed, carrying heavy, hidden burdens. The glimmer of steel couldn't hide the truth. Rust, not just on metal, but in the system. Duty called, but devotion wavered. A great nation's hope, undermined by its own hands. The sea, impartial, awaited. The fleet, unaware, sailed towards a reckoning on its deep blue. Across the water, a different philosophy. Japan's combined fleet focused on swift, agile, purposeful motion. Speed was their ally, maneuverability their art. They danced on waves, precise and determined, ready. Rapid-fire guns, a testament to innovation. Each shot a calculated move, not merely brute, blunt force. Highly trained officers, disciplined to their core. A new generation, sharp, ready, unwavering. Their crews, well-drilled, moved with purpose. Every man understood his role. Every movement was precise. British-inspired tactics guided their path. Aggression and precision were their creed, their chosen strategy. Not just battleships, but a coordinated fleet. Each vessel played its part in a greater symphony. Maintenance was paramount, every bolt accounted for. They respected their tools, their precious vessels. They believed in speed, in surprise. A sharp, modern mind guided their every decision, meticulously. Their course was clear, mission understood. A unified vision propelled this growing maritime power. Practice made perfect, every drill vital. They honed skills, anticipating the coming inevitable fight. Their flag flew high, a symbol of meticulous preparation. A nation rising, embracing the new ways. Engines ran smooth, well-oiled, efficient. Every part worked as a precise, potent, integrated whole. A deep bond forged among them. Brotherhood and shared sacrifice strengthened their unwavering resolve. A fleet designed for battle, not just display. Lean, agile, and ready for the ultimate test. With courage and innovation, they sailed towards a future they hoped to shape on their terms. The Yellow Sea, a strategic prize. Its control determined who would command this bitter war. Dominance meant controlling supply lines, coastal access. It was the very lifeline of ultimate victory. Who held these waters held destiny in their hands. Asia's future hung precariously in balance. Naval supremacy was not merely an advantage. It was an absolute, defining necessity for all. Ominous clouds gathered over the sea. High tension hung heavy, a palpable quiet before the storm. Two distant naval formations, blurry and indistinct, slowly moved closer on the horizon, unseen. Close up on turbulent water created by a ship's bow, pushing forward relentlessly towards destiny. A final, wide shot of the vast, empty sea, anticipating collision, a profound, lingering stillness. The quiet morning mist clung to the horizon. Unseen, destiny stirred, soon unleashing terrible fury. Slowly, the sun climbed, burning away the veil. Shadows on distant waters began to solidify. Then, a cry from the masthead cut the silence. A distant smudge, then forms, grew clear. Hearts quickened across the fleet. The moment, long anticipated, had arrived. No turning back. There they were, the great iron dragons of China, steaming forward, a formidable, silent presence. On the Chinese deck, eyes scanned, recognizing familiar shapes. Japan, smaller yet formidable, awaited. A chill swept through the air. Two worlds, two ambitions, now confronted each other across waves. Japan's fleet, a bold spearhead, sliced the water. A daring formation, full of fierce intent. Admiral Ito, with quiet resolve, steered his nation's fate. Every man knew immense stakes. China's armada, a mighty wall of steel, presented broadsides, a traditional, imposing display. Admiral Ding, aboard his flagship, watched. His fleet, his people's honor, rested on command. The silent advance continued, each ship a heartbeat. The world held its breath, unknowing. Men braced themselves, checking mechanisms, loading powder. A nervous energy hummed through every vessel. Black smoke billowed from funnels, staining the sky. Engines churned, closing the fateful gap. The cannons, hungry mouths of iron, stood ready. Each barrel held the power of nations. Then a blinding flash tore the air, a silent, terrifying blossom followed by thunder. The first salvos roared across the water. The battle, long foretold, had violently begun. Water columns erupted, wood shrieked, metal groaned. The unforgiving reality of war struck home. China's reply thundered back, a deafening retort. The air grew thick with gunpowder and dread. Iron missiles shrieked across the narrowing gulf, each a messenger of chaos, destruction, despair. The ship shuddered. Men ducked, their world now a symphony of destruction. No sanctuary remained. Then, the cruel orange flicker of fire appeared. A terrible new predator had joined the fray. Order dissolved into a maelstrom of sound and fury. The battle's true, savage nature revealed itself. Two giants clashed, iron against iron, will against will. The sea became their merciless arena. Muscles strained, hands moved with desperate speed. Each shell a prayer, a desperate act of defiance. Across the waves, their adversaries fought with equal ferocity. No side yielded an inch easily. Armor plates groaned under impact. Sparks flew like angry stars. Some blows found no purchase, but others tore through, unleashing hell within. A ship's steel skin was no true shield. Below decks, water rushed in, cold and relentless. The battle was fought on many terrifying fronts. Boilers burst, scalding steam filling enclosed spaces. The ships themselves became instruments of torment. Flames danced with terrible joy, consuming wood and canvas. The very air burned with malice. A choking, acrid smoke enveloped everything. Friend and foe alike became specters in the gloom. Smaller, nimble torpedo boats darted through the chaos, desperate gambits in a sea of giants. Yet, the defense held, a testament to raw courage. Every man fought for their very survival. Amidst the fury, quiet acts of bravery unfolded. Helping hands offered solace, however fleeting. Commanders roared orders, their voices hoarse, guiding their steel beasts through a sea of fire. One ship, battered and bleeding, refused to yield. Its guns still spoke, a defiant final roar. The midday sun, a silent witness, shone through the smoke. Its light now alien, mournful. Terror, raw and primal, gripped some, a profound, shattering moment of human vulnerability. Yet, others found a strength they never knew, a fierce resolve born of pure desperation. The Yalu became a cauldron of iron and flesh, a place where empires tested their very souls. Splintered wood and twisted metal littered the waves. a grim harvest of human ambition and fear. The ocean itself seemed to weep, its ancient depths disturbed, bearing witness to man's tragic folly. The first fury had passed, but the true cost was yet unknown. A new era dawned, forged in fire. The battle's roar intensified, a crescendo building across the water. A fateful dance had now truly begun. Their rapid-fire guns sang a deadly song, a relentless rhythm designed to shatter even the sturdiest hulls. Yet, the Chinese giants stood firm, absorbing each blow, a testament to their unwavering, courageous spirit. Each impact thudded deep, a hammer blow against iron, testing the very will of those aboard. They held their line, a brave, defiant wall. Such moments reveal the true heart of courage. The rapid-fire onslaught was relentless, a shower of iron and flame, seeking any weakness. The brave Qi Yuan endured, battered but unbowed. Her spirit shone, a beacon against the storm. Leadership, tested under such fire, showed its true mettle, guiding their ships through hell. They moved with purpose, a coordinated dance of destruction, each ship playing its part perfectly. Through the swirling smoke, shadows danced. One could only trust in their training and comrades. Then, a cruel spark, a small fire began to bloom. A silent dread crept aboard. The brave men fought the fire, a battle within a battle, their lives hanging precariously. It grew, a hungry beast consuming wood and courage. The ship was slowly bleeding light. Wounded, she faltered. A momentary break in the line. A critical blow, felt by all. Comrades rallied, trying to shield their wounded kin. Brotherhood, even in such chaos, endures. With heavy heart, she turned away, a wounded bird seeking refuge. A somber, painful sight. Leaving the fray, she carried her scars, a powerful symbol of the battle's cruel cost. Across the water, a Japanese cruiser reeled, struck hard. She too bore the wounds of war. Yet, she would not yield. Her spirit, fierce and unbending, drove her onward still. Resilience, born of training and will, shines through. The fight was far from over. Their captains, like chess masters, adapted. Communication was their silent, powerful weapon. A new target emerged, a strategic shift. The heart of the Chinese fleet lay exposed. These mighty ships, pillars of the fleet, faced a concentrated, terrifying storm of steel, impact after impact, a rhythmic pounding. They stood, yet the pressure was truly immense. Admiral Ding, a steady hand in the hurricane, fought bravely to maintain their embattled order. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, the proud Chinese line began to fray like worn cloth. The Japanese, ever agile, sensed this change. They exploited every opening with swift precision. Disorder began to creep in, a silent, insidious enemy within their own ranks now. The once steady rhythm now faltered, their powerful guns responding less and less often. The fog of war thickened, isolating ships, making each vessel feel terribly alone then. The unraveling hastened now, a rapid descent into chaos. The end felt close. Then came the torpedo boats, darting shadows, adding terror to an already desperate situation. The mighty Zhen Yuan, a wounded lion, still roared. Her resistance was truly extraordinary. Their coordination was impeccable, a symphony of destruction played with cruel, relentless precision. One brave ship charged, a final act of defiance, a desperate, poignant, and selfless sacrifice. Overwhelmed, she met her end. A tragic, heroic moment lost in the battle's din. The last vestiges of order dissolved. Retreat became the only bitter, difficult option now. They scattered, each ship a lonely island in a sea of despair. Such a painful sight. The chase began, but the core battle was done. A profound, decisive victory had been won. The water became a graveyard, bearing witness to lives lost and hopes truly shattered. As the smoke cleared, the terrible cost of ambition lay exposed. A somber, quiet devastation. His eyes held the terror, the grief of what unfolded. A moment to quietly reflect. The setting sun, a mournful witness, bathed the scene in crimson. a day of profound loss, a silent mast, a tombstone against the sky. The Yalu River held their final resting peace. The morning after, a chilling silence settled upon the water, heavy with the weight of what transpired. The sea itself seemed to mourn, cradling the broken pieces of shattered vessels and lost dreams. Below the surface, silent giants now lay broken, monuments to a brutal struggle just hours before. Others, wounded and weary, limped home, their proud frames scarred, a stark testament to fury endured. And the men, some forever lost to the deep, others bearing wounds both seen and unseen. Among the wreckage, a new dawn rose for Japan. Their victory undeniable, their purpose now clearer. The Yellow Sea, once a shared space, now firmly answered to the rising sun, its fate rewritten. A formidable naval power had truly arrived. The world watched, adjusting to this unexpected shift. The balance of power in Asia had irrevocably tilted, a profound consequence born of that day. Back on land, a pall of despair fell over China. The defeat's bitter taste lingered heavily. The once proud Beiyang fleet, symbol of a nation's hope, now lay scattered and broken. Its formidable power was effectively neutralized, a giant brought low, its spirit extinguished forever. Those few vessels that remained were now trapped, caged within their own harbors, defenseless and impotent. An era had ended, the dream of a modern Chinese navy seemingly fading into the gray mists. Far from the waves, the battle's echo reshaped the land war, securing vital pathways. Japan's supply lines to Korea were now utterly secure, a lifeline flowing unimpeded. Troops and material moved freely, bolstering their advance, an advantage now firmly established. Sea control proved its weight, offering an insurmountable strategic advantage on the ground. Meanwhile, Chinese forces on land found themselves increasingly isolated, their connections severed. Logistical nightmares plagued them, supplies dwindling, their brave resistance slowly fading. The land campaign's tragic outcome now seemed inevitable, a cruel consequence of the sea's loss. One battle at sea cascaded into an entire war's fate, a stark, powerful lesson. The Yalu clash, more than any other, truly determined the war's sorrowful, decisive end. The echoes of Yalu faded, but the world it left behind was forever changed. A quiet, profound shift began. Centuries of Chinese might, a steady, unwavering presence, began to quietly recede, like an ebbing tide. The old myth, that unshakable belief in China's invincibility, lay shattered, a quiet revelation for all to see. And so, a new power, vibrant and unyielding, stepped onto the world's grand stage, ready for its role. Japan's military, forged in fire and precision, proved its stark, modern might to a watching, stunned world. The taste of victory, of newfound strength, kindled within Japan a hunger for wider, imperial reach. Seeds of ambition were sown that day, promising a future of expansion, reshaping borders and destinies. Indeed, Asia was rewired, its ancient currents of power redirected, sparking a dramatic, continent-wide transformation. A new era dawned across the continent, uncertain yet vibrant, filled with both promise and shadowed consequence. This shift, this profound reordering, inevitably paved the way for further, bitter conflicts ahead. The clash with Tsarist Russia, a desperate struggle, followed swiftly, a direct ripple from Yalu's stones. And in a way, the seeds of a much larger global conflict in the Pacific were quietly planted then. Naval warfare itself, a brutal science, learned profound critical lessons that day on the Yalu. Swiftness, agility, the ability to strike and maneuver, became the cherished virtues for future fleets. Well-drilled crews, sharp and precise, proved more valuable than any amount of static, unthinking armor. The relentless hail of rapid-fire guns silenced arguments for slow, cumbersome, less accurate firepower forever. Raw, heavy armor, once thought invincible, bowed to the swift, decisive power of modern precision. From then on, the world's navies, from east to west, began to reshape their very vessels. Yalu, you see, was never merely a clash of ships. It was a deeper, seismic event. It marked a true pivot, a turning point where history itself took a profound, irreversible new path. The turbulent 20th century in Asia, with all its struggles, found its early genesis here. Its ripples spread far beyond Asia's shores, touching destinies across the globe in unforeseen ways. So let us remember Yalu, not just for its guns, but for the profound silence that followed. The Battle of Yalu, a name whispered through time, holds lessons echoing far beyond that fateful day. Its ripples spread, touching every corner, fundamentally reshaping the currents of an entire world. No longer just a clash of ships, but a true pivot, forever altering destinies then unfolding. It was a stark message, carved in steel and smoke, declaring the old ways were fading. From this fierce encounter, Japan emerged, a vibrant phoenix, soaring towards an unexpected destiny. Its ambition, once a quiet dream, now pulsed with newfound power, undeniable and resolute. The world watched, captivated, as a new empire began its ascendance, challenging established giants. Meanwhile, the grand old empires of Asia felt the tremors, their ancient foundations shifting deeply. Centuries of tradition, once unshakable, now faced an uncertain future, whispered farewells. An age was closing its eyes, a poignant chapter gently ending for many venerable nations. Yalu, then, was more than conflict. It was the precise moment the world truly changed. Its legacy, vast and complex, continues shaping our present, a silent, powerful force. If these stories touch your heart, please gently press like and subscribe for more journeys. Share your thoughts below. Your voice adds depth to our shared historical fireside conversations.